Good morning, everyone. I am coming to you live from Santa Monica. The sun is just about to peep over that tree. We'll see what that does to the screen. I want to quickly say good morning to all of my faithful regular followers, Daryl and Denise and Robin and Hathy and Brian. Oh, Brian, my heart goes out to you. Oh, I am thinking of you so much. I don't know if you want me to mention anything, but I am I am honored that you shared uh your sad news with me. Um yes, I'm so much is happening very quickly, and good morning, DE. Remind us where you are, because DE, diatomaceous earth. I It's hard for me to remember. There's Emmanuel in Florida. Thank you, Emmanuel, who is 13. And we want to encourage all of our young people to be interested in growing their own food, because this is their future. If you don't know how to grow your own food in the future, you may not be able to eat. And I don't know how to put it any more simply than that. So you want to align yourself with someone who has property, someone who has some kind of a greenhouse, a garden, somehow to ensure that you have food to eat going forward, because things are scary. Mix is here from Latvia. Cynthia Hurry, good morning. Cynthia, I don't remember where you are, but I do remember your name. Michael is here from Ashland, Kentucky. And Michael has recently moved to Ashland and is enjoying gardening up there. But I bet you're not enjoying the deer eating everything. I'm anxious to hear how you're handling the deer situation. Patricia is here from Hickman County, Elizabeth C. from Florida, Elaine Knight from South Alabama. Oh gosh, South Alabama, you're very close to the hurricane, Elaine, right? I can't even keep up with the names anymore. The latest, what is the name of the latest hurricane? My son and I were ahead of what was left of Hurricane Sally, and that was just in September. Wow. Good morning, Lisa in Las Vegas. Elizabeth, that's fantastic. Elizabeth is sharing how, I am on this Victory Gardens 2020, and she is sharing how she is sending seeds to 5 family members. And that is so important, that we save heirloom seeds and that we share them and we share the knowledge. Because we have a big learning curve to catch up to. I mean, I've been sorry, I've been around a while, and I remember the mass advertising campaigns for women to just, oh, open a can. It's so easy. Canned food is going to make your life so much easier. You won't have to do all of that slaving over the stove. And, for generations, we really got out of it. But what I heard, I just saw this. I'm not exactly sure what publication it was, but I saw a headline of a story, didn't have time to read it, that the mason jar, and I assume that means Kerr and Ball and all of those brands of canning jars, they like ran out this past season because so many people were returning to preserving their own food, which I find very, very positive and exciting. Kevin is here from Florida. Fencing. Are you talking about deer fencing? How tall will it be, and what's your plan? Because I want to hear about anybody who is keeping deer off of, for example, fruit trees, young fruit trees. Hathy is our moderator today, John Haffenacker, and he will be posting messages in all caps. So be sure and read those. He's going to try to get this live stream liked and shared and everybody welcomed. DE Delta Echo worked at an airline in Virginia, moved from Washington State, moved across country a few times, and it's a challenge. I couldn't sleep last night. I don't know if it shows, but I could not sleep. Let me just check on Uh, so many things are happening right at the moment, and just if you can just be patient with me for yes, on live now. Okay, and Brian, my heart goes out to you, and I want you to know that I'm thinking of you and your dog, and you'll get through this, and we love you. Son of a gun, Jeremy, put if all goes well, I will be in Phoenix on the night of the 31st, and the 1st of November, I'll be in Phoenix. So put that on your calendar. I'd love to meet you in person. Jamila is here from Trinidad. Cheryl, good morning. Yes, yes. Patricia is talking about selling seeds and vegetables and flower seeds, probably that you collected uh, as fundraisers for your community school. And I think that's fantastic. I mean, how far can a cupcake, how far can a cupcake go? So many times they do fundraisers and they sell home baked goods. Yes, it's delicious. You eat it, it's gone. There's nothing, there's nothing moving forward with that. Whereas if you're selling and sharing seeds and knowledge, that just keeps growing into a whole movement. And I want us all to be part of that movement. Cynthia, wow, she is concurring that canning jars are selling for $50 a case right now. I want to just take a Ecocentric is here from yeah. Okay, I know where you're from. I'm just blanking for a second. Gina is here from North Carolina, and $10 for a 12-pack of lids. That is really mason jars at the dollar stores. Good to know. That's probably because they've got all this old backlog and they can only charge. So you guys, if you're looking for ball jars for canning, go to the dollar store. Wow, that's incredible. Gina is still in Kentucky. Rob McGowan in South Florida with 100 organic pineapple plants. Oh, that sounds so wonderful. I won't be growing pineapple, I don't think, unless I build an incredible greenhouse, which is a dream. 10-foot fence. Boy, that's a fortress. Kevin is saying on his new property in northern Georgia, I believe that's where you are, or southern, wait, it's northern Georgia, right? No. Anyway, uh, he's going to be building a 10-foot fence. I can't put a 10-foot fence in my front yard. That's just not friendly, you know? So I'll have to figure something out. Jotham has gotten his tea because I said grab a cup of tea or grab a cup of anything and join us. Let's see. Absolutely, Elaine. I went out and I had Elaine is talking about too much salt in canned food. You really do have to look for, if you buy canned food, you have to look for low sodium. You have to. I remember growing up with those salty Campbell soups and canned soups, and then you're eating saltines with. I had so much salt growing up in Tennessee. It's incredible, and but somehow we survived, and I think it's because you sweat so much in Tennessee, and you sweat a lot of that salt out, and you need a lot of salt because you're sweating so much. Let me just check on somebody very quickly. Uh, Okay. 1 second, everybody. I wish I had somebody sitting right here to do this stuff, but I don't. It's just me. And I have some huge, huge news. Let me just catch up real quick. That's true. Salt is a preservative. And, you know, they have created all of these artificial, unnatural preservatives, words that you can't pronounce. And who was it? Jeffrey Smith? I think that's who was saying. I heard him speak at the National Heirloom Expo, and he said if or it's I heard someone speaking there. I think it was him, and he said if there's like names that you cannot pronounce in the ingredient label, don't buy it. Don't buy it and don't consume it. Uh, Anything that says natural flavors can have as many as 100 to 1,000, a mixture of 100 to 1,000 chemicals just in that one listing on your ingredient list of natural flavors. Just imagine what is in there, So the fewer the ingredients on the package, that's what you need to focus on. Get foods that are as whole food as you can. And I'm not recommending that store. I'm recommending whole food. Yes, and fermented food. Well, it's interesting to talk about salt and fermented food because when I was at Doug and Stacy's, she ferments so much stuff, and she grows so many big sweet peppers and all these. They grow so well in Missouri where they are. They're just. I mean, she goes out and collects a bowl of harvest of sweet peppers, bell pepper type, like that big, and she was cutting them up and slamming them down into the fermenting jar and putting all this salt in it. And you think, oh my goodness, that is going to be so salty. But for some reason, the salt, it's a chemical process that happens with ferments. And you're welcome to talk about that, Haffy, if you want. So Rob is saying the pineapples do require a subtropical place or a greenhouse. My question is, how warm do you have to keep the greenhouse inside in order to keep subtropicals growing? When I was in England, and England gets quite cold, and I visited that one fabulous allotment, that couple that they both have a passion for gardening. And they had this huge allotment behind their Airbnb house, their house that they were using as Airbnb, which is where I stayed. And they gave me a tour of the allotment, and I made a video of that. And inside his greenhouse, he had a mature peach tree. And it literally came up at the side of the foundation of the greenhouse, and it came up, and the branches were it was everywhere. It was like Lord of the Rings or something in there. I was like, oh my gosh, it was incredible. That's what I want. I want an incredible, mind-blowing greenhouse, because in Tennessee, I'm not going to be able to do the year-round gardening thing that I've always done here. So I'm going to have a huge learning curve, and I appreciate everyone's patience while I learn that. Mellow 101 is here. Good morning, DE. 2 foot. Yes, there's something about 2 4-foot fences, and they're a few feet apart, and the deer can't. I don't know. But I'm going to have to find out about that. FL is here from Hawaii, and I'll tell you how it's going right now. Yeah, well, it depends on how hot the kimchi is. I actually like some kimchi, but it does get hot. Shalbin is here from India. Fantastic, Shalbin. We haven't heard from you in a while. How old are you now? About 20? Eric is here. Not giving deer a landing place will also help deter. You plant all along the fence, hides the deer fencing, and looks more like a hedge. Yeah, yeah. But what do you use for the fence? Do you use chain link, Eric? Uh, that's what I'm hoping, Kevin. That's what I'm hoping. Shasha is here. Oh my goodness. Huts are not worth the at least 120 days of space to grow. Willis Chili's is here, and I'm thinking you are in a very unusual place. Like, oh, I almost said Greece. That's not right. Daryl, deer mesh. Well, is deer mesh, does it look like chain link fence? What does deer mesh look like? Switzerland. Yes, I knew you were in a wonderful place. Um, Yes, Cheryl is talking about sushi, and I am a big sushi eater, have been historically. I love it. I never thought I would. Uh, you know, earlier in my life, I thought I'm not going to eat any raw fish. Are you kidding me? Not happening. Not happening. But I somehow, if you get really, texture is so important in food, and some people simply cannot handle the texture of certain foods. Like, it's very odd. One of my sons, cannot stand the texture of avocados. And avocados is one of the healthiest fats you can eat. And it makes everything so much richer and creamier and more interesting. It gives a salad a really fantastic texture. When you think about your greens, and you think about something like a little nut, and you think about some avocado and maybe just a little bit of scallion, and you get that avocado in there, and with a lovely dressing, and it all just melds together. And if you have some fresh plum or some blood orange or something like that, you've suddenly, with 5 ingredients, hopefully I've made your mouth water just thinking about a little balsamic on that. So, so good. Nellie is here. Uh, oh, wow. Miles of used fencing on your property. That's fantastic. Mm. Um, DE, you just said where you are, and I've already forgotten. So what Oaksey is asking, should she leave a rose in the pot or ground for winter? It depends on where you are. It depends. Uh, Roses are pretty resilient. So, but I'm not a rose expert. Does anybody have an answer for so what? Actually, I don't know if you're a she or a he. I'm sorry. Uh, okay. So now that Debbie is here from Visalia, where is Connie? Connie needs to be here. Connie needs to hear this. Um, can you tune in? I'm about to talk about you. I had the most amazing meeting with one of my regular fans, Connie McGehee. There she is. And she and her husband, Steve, came to my place yesterday, and practicing social distancing and wearing masks, we loaded up. Remember the apple tree? Remember my espalier apple tree? And the loquat tree that I moved here? Well, They are now at her place in the valley. She also took my African blue basil and one of my big pots of comfrey. And, comfrey divides very, very quickly if it's happy. So she'll be able to divide. It looked pretty sad, actually. I was embarrassed to give that to you, Connie. But those roots came from OAG in Alabama. So, just know that they were loved. And he sent to me with love. And then I've nurtured those plants. And I moved them here. And there is a huge, I didn't know this, but there's a huge snail and slug problem here. And I would have to, because I am not in charge of all of the plants in the pots here, I can't just go around and be sprinkling everything with sluggos. So that I have found when I've taken plants out of pots that are sitting in pots, I take it out and it's just all these big old honking snails and slugs. So the comfrey really didn't have a chance. It was just eaten on mercilessly. But if she gets it into a happy place, it's going to take off. And that plant can be divided. You can literally, the root will be like this one big chunk of comfrey. And sometimes you can gently pry those tubers apart and come out intact, but more often you just cut it. You just take a machete or whatever and cut it. You could cut that clump into 4 sections. You could cut it into 8 sections probably, and just plant them all over the yard, and it would be so beautiful. Okay. Anyway, Connie took a bunch of things. I gave her some gardening books. And Connie, were you just listening when we were talking about the mason jars being $50 a case? I just gave her at least 30 jars yesterday because I have way too much stuff and I won't be canning until next year. And hopefully the glass business will pick up and there will be mason jars to be had when I am ready. Dee is here from Country Cottage, who used to be called the Frustrated Gardener. You're evidently no longer frustrated, Dee, or you were frustrated with that name and you changed it. At any rate, what have I got hanging over here? Oh, that's just a rag. Phew! There is no telling what kind of mess I've got here. I just wanted to say then, when Connie got home, she sent me a donation for my trip. And I really appreciate that. If anybody would like to hit the super chat donation and give me a little cash for my trip and for my new life in Tennessee, which looks like is going to be happening, Denise and Daryl. So Denise and Daryl and my new friend Donna, who has a farm east of Cookeville. She and her husband have 66 acres, and they have cattle and vegetables and a lot going on. I haven't had a chance to go there, but I'm going to be making a lot of videos up there. So I'm very excited about that. And I live not too terribly far from an Amish farm where I can get raw dairy. And so I guess I'm sort of skipping over the big news, which I need to add. Now we have 71 people. I want to welcome anyone who is new to this channel. For the first time, please leave a comment and just say, hi, my name is Sally. I live in Texas, and I've just subscribed to your channel because I'm enjoying following your journey or whatever. I have 600 and something videos that I made before this whole transition started of me transitioning away from Late Bloomer Garden 1.0. That property was sold, closed on that property in March, and I had to have a landing place, and I came here. And I came here into this apartment because I had good friends in the building, and they wanted me, Auntie Kay, to be close by, to be auntie to their daughters. And so because of the absolute craziness of this year. Thank you, Cheryl. The craziness of this year, I haven't seen them. We've spent no time together, zero. So, and then during my last trip, they had a big fire in their apartment, and their kitchen and dining room are black. When I look in there, I just see blackness, and it's so depressing. So, okay, Happy, don't leave us in the suspense any longer. Silver Tongue Daywalker is here. Patricia Bryant leaves her roses in the ground in Kentucky. Do you cover them with anything? Oh yes, Rob is that's fantastic. Yes, we always thinking about our pollinators. Okay, so I found, as happened with the other, even though Daryl has been looking, Denise has been looking, I've had several realtors looking. I haven't found through those sources. I hadn't found a house. The three houses that I found, I actually spotted, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on the first one. I know I spotted the second one. And so I spotted this house literally day before yesterday. It was on the market for one day. Yesterday, they had 8 showings back to back, 1 hours. And Daryl and Denise were there, and as was my realtor and husband. And they did a FaceTime. And based upon that visit, even in the rain, I made an offer. And they countered, and I've accepted their counteroffer. So, barring any crazy thing like the whole foundation is cracked and the house is going to fall down, in the next year, I've got a house to go to. And so I am very, very excited. And I hope you're excited for me. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because I did that the last time and the time before, and then it didn't work out. Just know that this house and property is way better than the other two. Good morning, Ed. Thank you, Shalbin. Let's see. Yes, Cheryl is calling for others to chip in a few dollars on the super chat and share their love for my channel. And it would be a real endorsement of me hanging in there and trying to inspire people for 8.5 solid years. And the last 2 years of my life have been extremely challenging. And yet I am here, and I want to try to inspire everyone to make their victory garden their big goal for this coming season. Depending on where you are, you can be doing that now. If you're in Florida, if you're in a year-round climate, you can be doing it now. Connie is going to be planting my plants. She is going to be carrying on the late bloomer 1.0 tradition in the valley here. And I think the loquat tree will do fantastic, especially if you put it in the ground. And if anyone else lives in Los Angeles and would like a very small piece of the late bloomer garden 1.0, I do have a handful more plants I am getting rid of. Predominantly, I have a huge Queen of the Night. I cannot take it with me. And if anybody is here and wants Queen of the Night, which is a really incredible cactus, it blooms with the most spectacular, the flowers are literally that big, and they open for one night. Can you imagine? One night. Thank you, Happy. Thank you so much for the super chat donation. And Queen of the Night flowers bloom for one night. And just imagine they have to attract that moth because bees sleep at night. They go in their hive and they go to bed. Those girls go to bed. Did you know all those worker bees in hives are female? I keep mentioning this, but I didn't know this for the longest time. It's just so amazing to me. The male serves one function, one time in a queen's life. We don't have to go into the details of that. I don't know where they hang out and what they do with the rest of their life. But meanwhile, those worker bees, those girls are just working, working, working. And speaking of bees, the owners of this property have hives. There's at least 10 hives, I would say. And they had a whole wall of honey in the house. The bees are going, they're not staying. But as my realtor pointed out, I could probably put a catch box up there for the leftovers, since bees are accustomed to going to the area. I don't know. I was not able to do bees in my dense neighborhood over there, certainly not here. And so I always felt like just learn about the things that you can do and not things that you can't do. So I never learned about taking care of bees. Anyway, let's see who else is here. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Debbie. Let's see. Evandel is North Carolina high country, Blue Ridge Mountains. Oh, Streamlabs donation service. That's fantastic. And of course, anybody can make me a direct donation. Evandel is talking about he or she prefers Streamlabs donation service over the Super Chat donation. And because YouTube does take a chunk of that. I don't know about Streamlabs. I'll check it out. But anyone who is interested in making a donation without the majority of it going to YouTube can go directly to my PayPal, which is set up specifically for Late Bloomer. And let me just get you that link. Everything is right on, all the links are right on the cover photo of my channel. But in case this is all news to you, where am I? Here we are. This is my PayPal donation link. And of course, you can buy t-shirts from Bonfire. This one says, I'm a dirt person on the back. And I have lots of soft fabrics and lots of beautiful colors. Wait. Oh my, okay. I am learning about the property owner behind my property. And he owns all of that wooded property behind me. And he has his own street named after him further down the road. Oh, that's funny. Okay, who just gave me another $10 donation? I looked down for a second and I missed it. Ramblin' Rose Cottage is here. I'm a little bit hoarse. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Thank you, Rose. I'm hoping you're right. I feel that way too. I always had something in the back of my mind on the other two, and I was excited about the first one. The first time, it's the first time I've ever done that on my own, and I was excited, but I was nervous. It was more money than I felt like I could spend, but I wanted to control the properties on either side because developers were going to build houses on all that. And I could just envision moving in there and having 3 houses going up at the same time, which is precisely what happened in the Palisades in 2005. Both of my old neighbors on either side passed away within a year of each other. Those properties were sold to the same, well, two developers, one contractor built all three houses at the same time. It was a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. I would never, ever put myself in that position again. Thank you, Elaine. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Evandel, I won't be too terribly far from the Blue Ridge Mountains. You know, I love the Blue Ridge Mountains. So I would love to visit your garden at some point. And thank you for the recommendation about the Streamlabs donation service. I'm going to check that out. Let's see. Amal is here from Saudi. Yvonne gave the $10. Thank you so much, Yvonne. I'm scrolling down. Let's see. I don't know what you mean, Happy, about links are not showing on my page here. Here? Well, I don't know what that means. Pyrenees dog sounds really nice, Ed. I hope you enjoy that dog. Jean Rogers is here. Good morning, Sister Marcel. Tess from Maryland. Is working in the garden. Faye David is here. Yes, I'm moving. I am moving. I won't know for sure until Wednesday. I had to book a video estimate from a mover, highly rated mover. I couldn't do the pod after all. I had that whole thing set up, and someone pointed out to me, "Okay, my van is longer than a 16-foot pod." I'm going, wait a minute. I can't get everything I own into a 16-foot pod. How do families move all their stuff in a 16-foot pod? I don't care if you pack it like sardines. It's not all going into 16-foot by 8 by 8 by 8. I think I'm losing my voice. Yes, Daryl. So it's going to be an intense coordination between, if the movers move me on the 30th, which is my plan. I have to wait until Wednesday, first of all, to get the estimate and to find out the spread of time, what the soonest is that the truck could get there, which is going to limit my travel across the country. You know, I have Jack in Phoenix. That's a definite. I'm absolutely stopping there. I have my friend Linda in Lubbock, but Lubbock is not, Lubbock is probably at least 50 miles off of I-40. So I think somebody just sent me a donation. Let me see. Amal sent me a donation to my PayPal. Amal and Saudi, you are so sweet. God bless you. I appreciate that. So anybody else that would like to do that to help me with my gas and my travel, I'm spending way more than I'm comfortable spending on this property, but it was so much better. And Daryl and Denise will attest. They were there. And I wasn't there. Can you imagine? Buying a property without seeing it and touching it and smelling it? But I'm going to. Yes, Faye, I am moving. Well, Kevin, yes, thank you. Kevin is talking about bees. And the thing is, they go to bed at night, so that's when they take them. They cover them so they can't come out, and then they take them. So I can't imagine why any bees would be hanging around outside the hive, especially now because it's getting colder. So it would surprise me that I would be able to catch any bees in November. But of course, I am not educationally prepared to take on that responsibility because a bee is a living thing, and I don't want to take on something that I don't know how to take care of yet. But obviously, if they're producing that kind of honey in that location, this is something I need to learn to do, right? Doesn't that isn't that rather obvious? Yes, The Vanishing of the Bees is fantastic. Rob is recommending that film. I know the filmmaker who made that. We are connected, and it's fantastic. That's been around now for, whew, I would say maybe 6 years or something. Okay, let's see. Okay, where are we? Gene Rogers is here. Um, yes, Evandel is correct. YouTube promotes channels with lots of interaction. First of all, you have to be uploading a lot of videos, and as you know, I haven't been. I hope to be uploading the follow-up to the last video, harvesting the peppers. I just want to do my drying peppers video. While that thing is still sitting there, this is going to be set up for one more week. And I would like to make that video. And also, I would like to go over to Vanita's and show you her garden. And some of my plants made it over there. Some didn't. The okra did really well, and she had a lot of okra to eat. But that's done, and so. But I want to try to get over there and do a video over there, sort of as a tribute. She has helped me immeasurably. She had a cancellation with a guy that was going to be working with her in her garden the other day, and she called up and she said, "I'm coming over to clean out your storage unit above my car. Remember that big cabinet that was just like solid stuff?" I was just thinking, oh, I was dreading that more than anything. But she has the most amazing energy. And I was already tired when she got there. And she said, "Sit down in the back of my car and just keep me company." And she went through everything. I she put everything that I'm taking with me back up there, which isn't a lot. She took everything else away, and it's amazing. So, Nana is here from England. Let's see. What do you have to say, Nana? Somebody's talking about leaf miners. I got behind. Yes, well, Kevin, this property certainly speaks to me. I have looked at so many properties, and one area that has a lot of farms, and where there were farms for sale. Either the house was just some old farmhouse that I would needed so much work, and but it's all flat. That whole county is flat. So when you look out the window, there's like sky and whatever's right here on the ground. There's nothing to, and so I feel like I'm moving back to Tennessee. I love the mountains in East Tennessee, but I didn't want to live that far away from Nashville. And so when I saw the view off the porch, I'm telling you, I was willing to overlook some other things I didn't like for that view. So, yes, that is my PayPal link, DE. Hi, Amber. Oh, let's see. How do I PM you, Nana? Do I have you on Messenger? You'll have to. Robin would like to know what I'm drinking. I'm drinking cacao. This is fair trade organic cacao, which is like the natural chocolate, the unproduced raw chocolate. And of course, it's very bitter. So I put a big dollop of raw honey in there. I try not to boil the water. I know there's a fine line between raw and cooked. And my old mentor used to say it was 104 degrees. I don't know if that's true. Don't quote me. But he would say you can heat something to 104 degrees and it's still considered raw. Now honey, as you know, has been medicine for 4,000 years. This goes back to the Bible, that honey is being used as medicine. So what you don't want to do with honey is cook it. You don't want to boil it and heat it. And any honey that you see in squeeze bottles, well, I won't say because I suppose it's possible to have a honey that drips like that right out of the hive. I don't know. I don't know how you can have that and you can have hard honey that you have to dig down in with a spoon. But that's what I buy. I buy this one honey that's very, very powerful and fantastic. And so that's all I do. I used to put a little milk in there. I don't do that anymore. And that's what I'm drinking. Okay. So Nana, I don't know how to PM you, private message you through YouTube. Does anybody need that PayPal link again? It's right there. Okay, How to Garden is here from Florida. None of my links are showing up. Where, Happy, is that underneath each video? All of those links are not showing up. When you click see more, you can't find all of those links underneath my videos. It should be on the about section of my homepage as well, all those links. I think they're updated. Remember Google Plus? Remember that was going to be like take over Facebook? That never happened. That's long gone. And the other day I'm looking through some of my about stuff in various places and I saw that Google Plus link. It goes nowhere. All that content that we shared with all of those people all over the world, whoosh, gone. Elizabeth is asking for advice about leaf miners. My biggest tip for leaf miners, and this really helped, it doesn't kill leaf miners. It can't. There are leaf miners come from so many different bugs. It's not just like one species. It's so many that, and all the leaf miner is the larva of a particular kind of bug that is going down between the layers of a leaf and burrowing down underneath that top surface. And then as it eats its way through that leaf, it goes around in like a little curvy thing, and you'll see it. You'll see the little wavy thing. It gets wider. The mark gets wider till the end, and it abruptly stops, and there'll be a hole, and the thing comes out when it's mature. And so there's so many species. It's impossible to catch them all or deter them all or to use pests. So what I would do on my citrus trees, and I'm sure you could do this on anything, is I use leaf miner traps. All that does is catch the flying insect that lays the egg. And of course, it only catches it if it lands on it and sticks to it. So, I used to have like 2 of those blue traps on each tree. And then when they get covered with insects, and it'll catch other things as well. But the blue is supposed to attract the leaf miner, as opposed to the yellow. The blue attracts leaf miner and let's see, it's two things: leaf miner and something else. And then the yellow traps attract aphids, white fly, and something else. So I used to have these things hanging in my trees. It's not the most attractive thing in the world, but it really does cut down the numbers. And another tip I'll give you, if anybody has a problem with aphids, with ants carrying aphids up their trees, which I also had a problem with over there, is you can create your own, but there is a product that you can order, and it comes with a corrugated cardboard roll, and you take this cardboard roll and you put it around the base of your tree, like maybe that tall. You tape it just with some, outdoor tape that's going to stick if it gets moist. I use this white waterproof. It's like duct tape, but it's white waterproof tape. To start it, you wrap it, you end it, so you got about that much space, and then you coat the whole thing with this tar-like stuff. And it's not really tar, like black asphalt tar, but it's like this really, really sticky, thick, sticky, gooey stuff, and it lasts for at least a year. And the way you get the majority of your aphids and I only recommend doing this to perennials, obviously. The same thing happens to your annuals. These ants, these minor ants carry these aphid nymphs on their back up your beans, up all kinds, everything. They they carry them everywhere because they eat the honeydew that comes off the back end of the aphid. And I think honeydew is a very nice term for something that comes out the back end of an insect. But anyway, if you wrap this, then the ants can't come up from the ground with those aphids. They get stuck on that. And you'll see, like, over the course of a year, that thing will just be crusted with bugs. So that really cuts down the aphid problem in the trees, and between the aphids and the traps. That's all I would really do, especially to citrus. And I didn't really have a problem with figs. So anyway, speaking of figs, yes, I will be there no, I will not be there for Halloween. No, I will be. Oh my God. Nadal. Can you believe my son was a tennis player, so of course we followed tennis. And Nadal, who is the big French tennis hero, he just beat Djokovic. Those are like the two biggest names in tennis, and they have been since my son was 15. We saw Djokovic play at the New York Open when he was 15. He's going to be 30. So that was 15 years ago. Djokovic was winning. Wow. And Nadal just secured his 13th French Open title. He's had so many injuries. I don't know how he's still doing it. I really don't know. What a grind. Thank you, Robin. I really appreciate that. I didn't get much sleep last night, and I have a feeling until I get more of a handle on this office, I am not going to be able to sleep very well. And until I get everything secured with the movers on Wednesday, I'm not going to sleep very well. Well, the thing about leaf miner is to remember is they do not kill your plants. They're just ugly, because all they're doing is your plants are providing the leaf for the maturing bug to eat. It just deforms. It really deforms the leaves on whatever they go on, but they go on all kinds of plants. So I just find it's very, oh, there's my eye drops on the floor. I knew they were somewhere. I just used them last night. Good morning, but good morning, Vietnam. I thought of that when I signed on this morning. That was a great movie that came out probably 20 years ago now, at least 20 years. I don't know how long it's been. And Robin Williams was spectacular in that movie. And somebody just sent me another donation to my PayPal. Thank you so much. I'm driving across the country in a Prius, and I would love to get all my gas money before I sign off in 5 minutes. I get, well, I'm not going to get 500 miles an hour because my car is going to be packed with so much heavy stuff. I've got plants and oh my, I don't even know how I'm going to get it all in. And, but normally I get 500 miles to the tank. So, just with a handful of donations, that would pay for all of my gas to go across the country. Anyway, I thought of the movie when I signed on this morning, Good Morning Vietnam. So Good Morning Moon, B7 from Vietnam. And the writer of that movie actually lived in my neighborhood. Lives. He's still there. I'm gone. I just passed his property last week. I went over just to get some fresh air and sit out on the bluff. And I looked out over the Santa Monica Bay, and it was a beautiful sunny day. And I thought, wow, am I going to miss this? It was quiet. No one was around. It was a beautiful day. There's the ocean. You can just imagine. Oh, I saw this article. I'm ranting. I'm sorry. Not ranting. I'm just carrying on. But I saw this great article last night. One of the benefits of this horrible, crazy time with this pandemic is the whales in Puget Sound are singing again because the cruise ship industry puts so much noise. I'd never thought about the noise. I've thought a great deal about all the trash and more that cruise ships dump into the water, polluting the water for which are the whales and other fish's home. I've worried a lot about that, but I had not thought so much about the sound pollution because whales use this sound to communicate for miles. They communicate to their family, their pod. Did you know Lolita? This is amazing. And from that article, I saw this other article about Lolita. You know Lolita, the orca that was taken as a 4-year-old? She is now 54 years old. And she has been in the Seaquarium, I believe it's the Seaquarium in Miami, for 50 years. 50 years. My heart breaks for this animal. And guess what? Her mother is still alive. Her mother is still alive, swimming out in Puget Sound. And she's over in Miami in a tank. Oh, I get so emotional when I think about that. Anyway, there's a tribe of Native Americans who are trying to free her still so that she has a chance to rejoin her pod while they're still alive. Thank you, Cynthia. Yes, Manuka honey. I just bought some Manuka honey. It was $25 for a little thing like that. So you just use Manuka for medicine. You can't just be slurping it down in your cacao all the time. We're talking about cats in raised beds or something. Thank you, Eric, for remembering that product. It's called Tree Tanglefoot. Is the goopy stuff that you paint on the trunks of trees, and for me, it worked really well. It's a great deterrent without having to spray stuff or have poison or anything. Plant Life. Well, you'll have to go back and watch the beginning Plant Life because big news today. Can't go through the whole thing again, but I am moving. Let's see. Amal is asking a question about a 1 seat away from harvest is here. 1 seat away from harvest. I went through the whole story. My I have accepted the counteroffer and on a property, and I didn't say this before, but they had heard of me. They said, Kay Cottrell, the actress. I'm going, wow. That would be amazing if they really remember, because I haven't worked in a while. But they were excited about this becoming Late Bloomer Garden 2.0 because they got another offer that was higher than mine, but they countered at that level, and I accepted. So they chose me. Elizabeth, it's the same idea, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to put the goop directly on the bark. And that's the beauty of this cardboard. It's corrugated, so it easily goes around the base of the tree, and then you just load that up, and it doesn't leave your petroleum jelly is made out of fossil fuels anyway. This tree tanglefoot, I don't think it is it, Eric? I think it's made out of something natural that's just really goopy. Okay, somebody is talking about neighborhood cats. And guess what? There are feral cats on this property. And I've never dealt with feral cats, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. Thank you, Ed. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Wow, I missed this whole thing. A little over 9, Connie. A little over 9, and half of it is wooded. Very, solid. It's a good idea, Daryl. I'm going to make a postcard. Let me just mention this real quick. We're 9:03, so we're over the hour, and I was actually invited to Nina. I think her name is Nina. She's a 1-year-old that lives in the building, and they're the father's from Russia and the wife is American, and they invited me to her birthday party over in the park, starting at 9. So I'm gonna blast. But what was I just saying? Shoot. Wow. Oh, Ecocentric is making apple cider. Fantastic. Veronice is here. We have 81 people, 79. How did that go from 81 to 79 before I even got the sentence out? Oh, I will, Rob. You better believe I will. I don't want to be responsible for killing bees. Oh, that's a good suggestion, DW. Mm. Thank you, Nana. I'm a rebel. That's interesting, Denise. Robin is here from East Tennessee. If you just signed on, Robin, you're just going to have to go back and watch the beginning. A lot. I covered a lot. I am moving. My plan, let's see, I'll be talking to you like 3 or 4 more times before I move. But my plan is to move on the 30th. And I'm going to spend the night. I'm going to spend the night in a hotel, and the 30th, because Denora will be here on the 30th. That will be our last. Denora and I have been together since before 2006, so at least 15 years. She's like family. So she'll be here, and the movers will come, and hopefully all of this stuff gets moved. We'll do a quick cleanup, and then I'm going to stay in a hotel, and then I'm going to start driving on the 31st, and hopefully I'll get to Phoenix, mid to late afternoon. And from there, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go 40 or 10. I haven't figured it out. Let's see what else. Very quickly. Obviously, Amal had some kind of question about cats probably pooping and peeing in her beds. And I know that somebody said something about straw. I don't know if it's a raised bed we're talking about or pots, but one little tip that I remember from way back is that if you just put like chopsticks or little sticks, just stick them about every 3 inches, so that they come up, so that they're above ground about that much. And you just stick them every 3 to 4 inches all over the area around the plants. They won't get in there because they don't feel like they can, get in there and have a cleared out place to poop. So you can also try that if you don't have straw, or can't get straw. Good morning, Sticks. I am signing off in just a second. And let's see. And I am going to need a good handyman and a good flooring person. I'll be looking for that. And as soon as I get settled, I'm going to start putting all this stuff out on Facebook and not rebooting, but I'm just going to start communicating on my Facebook page. There hasn't been a lot to communicate, and I'm going to start communicating. And I was thinking, if you haven't liked Late Bloomer Show on Facebook, please do, because I am going to start posting little videos of my journey, and just unedited short pieces. This is where I am. Take a look. This is how far I made it. And then you can follow my journey across the country, because I don't want to create something that I got to go back and edit or anything like that. And, Facebook is much easier to just upload these 3-minute videos and just saying, I made it this far, and this is how much farther I have to go, and here's the map. I don't even know if I can do that. I did a trip in 95. This is way back before GPS and cell phones and our smartphones that tell us everything and keep track of us and everything. And I had this trip from New York, from Boston down to west of Nashville. And I had it all, on a map, and it was all laid out. And I posed with this map with my son, and he and I did that trip. Oh, wait, there were 2 trips. He did a trip with me. He was 4 and a half. And he and I did a trip from Manhattan. I rented a car in Manhattan and had a flat tire 2 blocks from the rental car place. What a nightmare. I rented a car in Manhattan and I drove it to west of Nashville. And he was my companion. And I photographed old friends at different points along the way. And that was a book that I've always wanted to publish and never have gotten published. So I'm hoping for great things in my new place and that I actually get to complete some of these projects and start new ones and learn new things and share them with you. So I hope I didn't miss anybody. Kathleen is here. I hope, Kathleen, you can go back and watch. I've got big news that I just shared. And Robin, oh, that's fantastic, Robin. I hope to be in Tennessee by the end of the first week in November. So with that, I'm going to sign off and I'm going to wish you all a great week. Stay well and safe and God bless. And thanks so much for supporting this channel. Hit the like button on the way out. Don't forget to follow Late Bloomer Show on Facebook. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. I appreciate every single one of you. And I will see you Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'll see you then. And take care. And keep growing and working on your Victory Garden 2020.